NVIDIA has dropped a new 12 gig 3080. Luke,
Oh, so exciting.
were you thinking, you know what I need? A GA102 GPU that costs more?
Yes. Yep.
Is
Yes.
that what you're after?
And that is
Because,
better for mining.
and that's better for mining. Okay, I wasn't even going to go there yet, but
we can get into it. It sports 8,960 CUDA cores over the 8,704 cored 10 gigabyte variant, plus 256 just in case, as well as 20% more cumulative bandwidth than the 10 gigabyte variant of the 3080 due to a 384-bit memory bus. There's a clock speed bump too. Base clock is up 180 megahertz and boost clock nudges up 40 megahertz. That's actually like pretty substantial on the base clock. Yeah, the note says that too.
yeah, but these cards almost never run at base clock unless you're like suffocating them. So there's that.
That's fair. Yeah. Base clock improves by 14%, but boost clock is only up 2%, blah, blah, blah. It's funky. It's weird. This 12 gigabyte RTX 3080 arrives just days after the company announced a new RTX 3090 Ti with faster memory and better performance. And oh, this hurts to say because the really high-end cards being really expensive is one thing, but a RTX 3050 for $249. Rough. The 12 gig 3080 pricing will be determined largely by board partners. EVGA has priced its own RTX 3080 12 gig at $1,249. But they're potentially not even going to be showing up in North America. We have a weird note about that. I'm not certain if that is for that specific brand or if that's for all of them in general. But it doesn't matter because you're probably not going to get them anyways. Nice.
So, you know what's really funny is I was going to contradict you there, and I realized that you're not the one who's crazy. I'm the one who's crazy. You were going through the cards that NVIDIA released recently, going, oh, well, there's the 3090 Ti, and there's the RTX 3050 for $250, and you were outraged. And I was about to jump in and say, that's a great deal. But, I mean, what did let's go back. Let's go back a couple of generations. Like, what did a GTX 950 cost?
Yeah.
I'm going to look this up because I don't remember. The GTX 950 launched in 2015 at $159. You're not crazy. I'm crazy. NVIDIA has managed to take that tier of product and increase the MSRP, which, by the way, is not necessarily representative of the price you will actually pay, by, hold on a second. Oh, bloody hell. I don't know how to use a calculator. So 249 over 159. They've managed to increase the price by 50 to 60%. And by the time you factor in, your super clocks and KO and all your different variants of the card, you could easily be paying nearly double for the same tier of card that just 7 short years ago was available for, $150. Something that as a kid in high school, you could conceivably work a side hustle and save up for in some reasonable amount of time and, get your game on. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, it's going to be a lot faster than that card. Technology's come a long way in the last 7 years. So I'm not saying, hey, you should go buy a GTX 950 or anything like that. I'm just saying that we've clearly been conditioned to accept that, I mean, $250. Holy
$250
bananas.
for a sub 60 graphics card. That's my thing.
Holy crap.
That's nuts.
I don't remember how much the 8800 GT cost when it launched.
I think around $300.
No, I think it was less, Luke. I think that NVIDIA, after they launched it and realized, holy crap, we just completely irrelevanted our entire rest of our product line. I think they increased it. Yeah, the 512 meg version, the higher end version, was $250. So going back 10 years prior, $250 bought you from NVIDIA a flagship killer card. And nowadays, $250 buys you literally the lowest tier GeForce card in their entire like current lineup that they begrudgingly over a year later finally brought out to get more volume of cards into the hands of gamers instead of focusing on their higher margin, higher MSRP cards. That's crazy. Okay, Snap 725 says all caps inflation. And that's a fair point. Let's head to a US inflation calculator. Okay, so let's have a look here, right? The thing is, though, inflation's a funny thing because inflation for housing, for example, is a really different number from inflation for food, from inflation for tech. I mean, if you were to look at something like TVs or actually even personal computers as a whole, I was looking at a flyer from London Drugs from like 1995, right? Okay, so this is back in the Pentium era, right? And to buy a fully equipped desktop setup was like $4 or $5 grand. And that was just what a computer cost, because
non-gaming home computers, $4 or $5 grand, yeah.
Having a personal computer was absolutely not a given. So according to the inflation calculator, that 8800 GT, your flagship killer step-down card that comes a little bit later, should cost you $336. What kind of modern GPU can you buy for $336? And the other thing to consider is that in some areas of tech, we've actually got more of an opposite inflation thing going on. I mean, how much did a 42-inch TV cost 20 years ago? Riddle me that. What's a 42-inch TV cost today? A fraction. So if anything, it should be possible for technology to buck that trend. I mean, even Intel, who's not exactly known for giving consumers a deal just out of the goodness of their hearts. You go back to something like, the Pentium 4, back when I first got into enthusiast computing. You could get a Pentium 4 Northwood, so this is like a, what is it, Northwood's Pentium 4C, I guess, was the last generation of P4 before AMD made it completely irrelevant with the Athlon 64. So that would have been in like 2004, 2005. It was like $500 for an entry-level P4. And Intel, all these years later, it's still like $500 for an entry-level, like Core i7. I mean, an entry-level enthusiast chip, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's possible to buck this trend. But I mean, hey, why do that when you don't have to, right? Like, if I'm NVIDIA, the corporation, I'm doing a great job right now finding ways to condition my users and really the entire market to think that this is what gaming should cost.